Hello, welcome to yoga. So what I want to do in this little sequence is two particular things, and one is the Sunbird pose. The Sunbird is a little strength pose, and it balances between this area, your lower core, and your lower back. It helps teach strength right in here. Okay, so the Sunbird is maybe a new one for you, so I want to offer that today. So that's on hands and knees, so you need padding for your knees if you wish. We'll do hands and knees for that. And the other one is pigeon pose, so I'm actually choosing two bird-like poses. So I want to go into pigeon pose, and both of these, like the Sunbird, is talking about this area, so the Sacral Chakra if you wish, so in the lumbar, in the lower core, and then we get into a deep hip stretch with a pigeon pose. So kind of continuing to complement that sacral chakra if you want to. And so yeah, I do have nice enough padding, and I have a pillow because I might bring that in for a little assistance along the way, and a scarf because I want to do one stretch here in the beginning. You ready to go? So you're going to start off seated. And when you go into a pigeon pose is actually a really big back bend, and you puff out your chest like a pigeon would, like, you know, their little feathery chests. So we're going to start off with a wonderful chest opener. Okay, so you take your scarf behind you, and you grab two spots. And forgive me, I'm going to stay facing you so you can't really see what I'm doing, but I think you know this one by now. So you're grabbing two spots, and you roll the shoulders back and down, and you take a deep breath here. And then you play with lifting your hands, arms up. Take a deep breath here. And then you could lower that a moment. We're going to go up into it one more time. So I kind of relax the shoulders down. And then one more time, I roll them back and down. And then lift the arms up. Take a deep breath into that beautiful chest opener. And then releasing that. Good. You can set that aside. I'm going to put the pillow right over here. You use it soon. And you bring your feet together. And I create a big butterfly. Okay, so there's a star between my legs or a diamond. And I'm just going to move the spine 3 or 4 times. So you curl it back. And then lift, inhale. Exhale, forward. Inhale, up. Exhale, curl. So movement of the spine is going to complement both the Sunbird and the pigeon pose. So I want to move the spine for a moment in 2 different ways. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Nice. Okay, so now we get to move to hands and knees. And my pillow is not really needed at this time, so I'm going to shoot it over there, shoot that over there. May not need either of those anymore. Let's see. So now you come to tabletop, create that of your body, and you want you to feel the strength in the lower core, in the lower lumbar region, and begin to move that, releasing down. This is your familiar cat and cow, but you're giving that lower area some deeper thought, releasing your core muscles, and then contracting and drawing them up. So doing maybe 3 or 4 or 5 of those, really good lower back therapy. In fact, what I'm teaching today could easily be a lower back therapy sequence, definitely. Spine movement, Sunbird, deep pigeon pose, all good. I'm going to follow through that one more time. And centering out. Are your knees padded enough? So noticing that, you want to pad them up a little bit. So I'm going to fall back into active child's pose, or relaxed if you want, okay? This is where you can release your wrists, maybe wiggle your fingers, rock your hips, okay? Because in a moment you'll be back on your hands and wrists. So you want to release there. And then you take it back. And create a very strong tabletop again. Now you're going to practice pulling your core up, but instead of making it curl your spine, you're going to keep your spine strong. So play with this for a moment. Just pull pull your lower abdominal muscles up, but the lower back stays flat or long, and it balances out between the two. So do that a couple times, like release it. It's like a little tailbone tuck that we practice sometimes, actually all the time. So strong through the core. So I'm going to release it a little bit. I'll come back to it in a moment and bring my knees closer together. So they're pretty much hugging in. And I pull the core muscles up and I'm ready to go into Sunbird. So I'm going to shoot my left leg back first because it's closer to you. I'm going to shoot it back and stretch through that heel. Look at my toes pointing down and pressing the heel. We're going to stay just with that for a moment. Lift up into that butt muscle. And now right here in your core, pull your belly button up to support the lower back. Another thing to notice is, can you balance the hips out? So sometimes what I do if my balance is ready for it is I bring my hand back and I feel, have I balanced my hips? Using a mirror or a video is actually really helpful, I'm finding. But anyway, see if you can feel that in your body. Strong. Keeping that left leg reaching, beautiful, strong back. Take your right arm and reach it forward. Here is your Sunbird. Your eyes are like down on the ground, a little bit out in front. Deep breath. Balance of core to lower back. You can also feel the benefit in your butt muscle a little bit. Tuck through the tailbone, lengthen. You got this. Reach those fingers, strong through the toes, pointing down. Now bring your arm and leg down. And let's move back into, so I go wider with my knees briefly, and I move into my spine again. I release it. Inhaling down. How are your wrists doing? Do you need to fall back and release? Wiggle the fingers at all? Feel free to do that. I'm going to do that for a second. Now getting ready for the second side. I get my knees right in close. Pull the core up. Before I reach the leg, I feel that strength. And then shoot the right leg straight back. Practice a little balance of the hips. Feeling that reach of the heel, toes turned down. You can try a little balance here where you just hold that and you take the arm, hand up to your core muscles and you see if you can lift them up away from your hand. Balance of the hip, you can check that and just play with this part for a moment. So your right heel is reaching back and then you reach your left arm forward, sunburn it. Deep, yeah, deep, I can't talk. Deep, beautiful breath. So you're practicing that balance of core strength to lower back, lower core to lumbar spine. It could be the sacral chakra if you wish. So releasing that down, I take my knees a little wider, and again move into the hips. Into the spine is what I actually meant. Okay, so falling back into a little child's pose, you could relax for a moment. We're thinking about our pigeon pose. So what I'm going to do to find my way there is actually come into a lunge first. So I'm going to bring my right leg through. So I'm going to curl through the spine and bring my right leg through into a nice long lunge. And for a moment, see my back foot, my back toes are pointed. I'm going to lift that knee up and stretch long. And here is a cool challenge. If anyone wants to take it on, you could lift up here. I can do it on one side. I wonder if I can do it on the other side. And then lower that down. Good. Now a little movement of forward and back just to loosen up that leg that we're going to stretch into the pigeon soon. One more time. Feeling about ready. Okay, so here's where a pillow could be useful. I'm going to show it, but you won't see it because it's on the other side. It's going to be right here, and my hip could be used for my hip to lay on, but ideally you want to balance the hips. So let's see. What I'm going to do now is tuck this leg in a diagonal and get the length. So I want to reach this leg really far back and try my best to balance my hips, turning those hips forward like that. So your pigeon pose is ideally a back bend lifted, but we are going to let ourselves relax. Now I want you to see this active foot. That can be very helpful for knee protection, and it keeps it more active and lifted. Nice. And then if you want the little addition of a big fat blanket or a pillow under your hip to kind of balance it out, can totally work. So now I'm just going to relax down. A little resting pigeon moment. And this is where you get that deep hip stretch. Bowing into that. Allow your soft breath to come through your stretch. Sinking down into it. Welcome to stay here. You can even peek at what I'm doing first, see if you're interested. But I'm going to lift up into the pigeon pose now. This is where you get the back bend. I'm going to take my back toes and tuck them and lift my body up more active. And then you're kind of checking it out, what you want to do. So do you want to reach back a hand? So the left hand for that left foot. Possibly. You're going to push that foot into your hand and start to practice a little balance. If your body allows, if you know this one and you want to play with reaching back with the other arm, I can do this on this side, but definitely not on my other side. You can see that. Release. Release. Okay. So now coming out of this leg, I'm just going to take it back. Sometimes it's nice to do a downward dog and shake it out, or you can just take your leg back, shake it out, and get ready for your second side. So a deep breath, inhale, exhale, bring your second leg through, maybe it's your left leg with me, and get that length. Good. So you have your lunge first to warm things up. What did I do? I did that pointed foot back there, and lift up. Interesting challenge. First time a teacher taught me this, I could not do it. I played with it a little bit and was able to find it. And then bring it down. So a little movement back and forward. Softly breathing into that. And then coming forward, moving towards your pigeon pose, where you tuck the leg in. Now this is my knee that's a little sensitive, and I promise you I'm going to be so respectful of that and so careful. So I'm definitely going to bring the pillow in here to support it, bringing a block, something there. And I'm going to flex my foot that you can't see. I'm going to flex it a lot, and that knee is feeling pretty safe now, okay? So finding yours. Lowering down. Ooh, and then into that wonderful deep hip stretch, bowing down into that. Stay relaxed just as you are. If you want to play up into the more full pigeon with the back bend, lifting, opening your heart. And possibly the other leg bends and you could reach your right arm back for it. Practicing that balance in the center. And knowing for me on this side, this is about as far as I can go today. I don't want to depend on that knee to hold me, so I'm just going to keep that. If you want, you could reach this other arm back for your foot. But be okay with whatever happens. Just let your body tell you what it wants. Release that down. Whew. So I'm going to ease out of that. Shaking that leg out a moment. Dropping the hips back into a child's pose moment. Kind of rocking it side to side. The last pose I want to do is bound angle. Okay, so you can stay happily in child's pose. I don't like to move anyone out of that before they're ready. But if you want, I'm going to come to seated. And for my bound angle, I'm definitely going to grab my pillow. It doesn't mean you have to, but the idea is to have your feet closer in on the butterfly legs. Feet closer in and spine more lifted. So with the pillow there, under my hips, it allows me to be more lifted, and then I tip forward off the edge of it. So, bound angle, Baddha Konasana, the feet can be close, and opening the knees there, you go for it. My knee is talking to me, it's telling me no. Release it a little bit. So I just use my example here, not to complain to you, but simply to say, listen to what your body tells you. So lifting up into your beautiful bound angle to the sky. Exhaling, reaching it forward, long, long spine. So it kind of depends on where you can keep a long spine. Should it stay here today? Some of you are happy here, a few, I definitely know you can come down further. It's not a challenge, it's simply, what do you want to do? So thank you for playing with these. We had our butterflies, our spine movement, sunbird, and pigeon. What a great day. Sounds like good stuff. So I'm going to come on up, sit cross-legged briefly with you, and just kind of wrap things up. If you want to move yourself into a wonderful Shavasana right now, you go for it. Palms together. The light within me salutes the light within you. Namaste.